Hello, maybe you are using the Qt Linguist tool and want to know if your translation is fine. I wrote a small tool called Translation Source Check. You can find it on Livio's site. The board Translation Source Check always contained the latest executable for Windows and Mac OS. Of course, you need your Qt translation file and my check tool. And there's a small manual at the beginning. You can increase and decrease the font size. You can use text warp mode. I prefer it disabled. We only need to open our translation file, and then there are already a few checks done. First of all, we can see the used characters in the source and in the translation, and the characters are fine. They are used in German language. Here are a lot of checks. As you can see, the checks are 2 times available, once for the source and once for the translation. The first check, 1.1, is fine. The next check, 1.1b, complains that they are unfinished translation, so maybe I only need to check them. They are maybe all fine here. Then there are warnings about too many or too less characters. In normal case, this is not a problem for the translator. It's more a problem for the software developers, and he must be carefully if it fits into the user interface. You might have noticed that the checkboxes might be fully checked or partly checked only. Check 1.2 failed. Let me see. 1.2 failed 5 times. Though there are at least 5 translations with more than 1,000 characters, but in fact, if I do a full check, there are 17 translations with more than 1,000 characters. Partly checked means this check will be skipped if the source already failed this check. So in normal case, the translator can keep all checks partly checked only. So check 2 is about non-ASCII characters, control characters, line feeds. As you can see here, it complains one time I used a line feed while in the source is no line feed. At this position I've done a line feed in the translation. It's okay, I don't need to change it. Don't forget, in this check there might be a lot of false positive warnings, and that's why I can partly check only, or here you can see in these checks I have optional checks. Each time I check an optional check, then there will be more warnings. So check 2 was done. Check 3. These are checks about the first character. For example, a space as first character is not nice. The source. I want to go to the translation. As you can see, the translation doesn't complain because there might be also in the translation. No, I wrote it without. So we will see that there's a test later where this might be a bug. Maybe the spaces are needed, but I didn't wrote them. Okay. Check 4 is about the last character. Most checks are fine. Check 4.4 has a lot of warnings. As you can see, I used full stop sometimes. Full stop at the end of a sentence is okay. I think there are a few other characters also okay. Let's check again. 19 maybe bugs here. I don't want to check them now each. Test 5. It's mainly a check about braces. For example, check 5.3 complained the closing character wasn't opened. This is source. Here's an opening brace and a closing brace. The translation has got a closing brace, but here's no opening brace. So this is a bug. As you can see here, some more warnings. And of course I need to locate these translations. In easiest case, I just copy this and search in Qt Linguist. The other possibility is to print the location. So I can see here the location. And the software developer can even see the location in the source. Okay, I think it's better to disable this since sometimes there might be a lot of locations for a single source. Check 6 is about missing spaces after full stop and other signs. Don't forget, here might be also a lot of false positives. For example, check 1 complains if there's no space after comma. Let me see. That is this location. Yeah, I might need to fix this, maybe. Check 7 is about space before full stop and other characters. Check 8 is about double line feed, double space, double dot, double other characters. For example, here a double closing brace, but double closing brace, as you can see here, it is not a bug, it's a false positive, but you might find bugs with these warnings. Check 9 is about double special characters. Check 10 warns if the source begins with a lower letter, the source. I must check this. It must be the translation. The translation begins with a lower letter. This check was difficult to code. There might be also a lot of false positives. Check 11. All words with double letters. In the German language, double letters are allowed, but maybe you are speaking a language where is it not allowed, so you will find fast bugs here. Check 12. List all words that are mixing upper and lowercase letters with letters that are not upper and not lowercase. Also a list of all words that use uppercase after lowercase, but these are okay. Also a list with all words that are uppercase only, but these are also okay. Check 13 is about double words in the translation. For example, the word weird found 2 times here, but that is okay. Check 14 is a list of all used key sequences ordered, so you can see if a key is used twice. Check 15 is a list of all words. These words are not splitted, though you can better see the content of these words. If you want to split them, just enter the characters here that you want as a split sign. So, for example, we have got 3,818 words, and if I check again, then 200 words less. Okay, I don't want to have this now, because it affects the other tests. Check 16. These are all translation one time ordered. So, of course, you might read it manually, but just select all, copy them all, open your Word, Google Docs, or another tool like this, paste it. Select your language and have a look if the spell checker complains about some sentences. Then there are several checks comparing the source with the translation. For example, these checks warns if the translation is much longer than the source, or if it is much shorter. So you might have skipped some sentence in the translation, or too long translations might not fit into the interface. So these warnings are helpful. Check 2 is about different numbers of control characters, of line feeds. Of course, they are several false positives, but you might find bugs here also. Check 3 compares the first character if it is a line feed in the source but not in the translation, or in the translation but not in the source. And check 4, do the same with the last character. Check 5 counts the opening, closing characters and compares. Check 6, count the colons, question marks, full stops, and compare them. Of course, the number of full stops is different. There are a lot of false positives, but for example, the question marks, this is a good test. If this doesn't fail, we can have a look only at this test, and as you can see, it failed 10 times. Could not save data, timetable file, and hard disk. Maybe hard disk is full. Yeah, I've done it with question mark. So, check 7. Once if there's a different number of characters. Check 8. Once is there a different number of numbers, but here are also several false positives. For example, here it complains that the 0 is missing, but 0 is here as number 0, and here the word. So in fact it is not missing. Test 9 checks if there's a different number of key sequences. That's fine. It checks if there is a different number of arguments. That is bad. So there might be missing. And the last check checks if the arguments are increasing by 1. For example, this test fails. If you check here, here's argument 1, argument 2, argument 3, argument 4, argument 5 in the source, and in the translation it is argument 1, argument 2, argument 3, but argument 4 is missing. I mixed the letters. Check 10. Once if the source is not translated always the same. So this is the original source, and I translated it once like this and the other time like this. So there might be a bug, or maybe I just translated a bit different. And the last check, once if the same translation is used for different sources. So for example, teachers and all teachers is translated both times with alle Lehrer. That is okay. But also with this test you can find several bugs. Let me know if you have ideas for other tests, and see you next time.